Hey everyone, it's James here. I've decided to just start recording, and it's a piece of content I wanted to introduce you guys to. Um, this is the website that I've been working on, the truongmethod.com, Truong method.com, and this is the landing page for the beta test in the beta test of the system that I've been designing over the last month or 2 months or so, which I've really been putting together over the last 15 years of my life, and of all the different experiences that have culminated into putting this system together. And I'll show you. I mean, like, this is my sizzle reel. This is my intro video, and it's why I do what I do. If you guys want to watch that, you can watch that. And yeah, I got some information down here, and this is a testimonial video which will load itself shortly. But these are some of the people that I shared the system with, and I shared only about 1% of what I'm potentially going to share with you. There we go. That's me talking to Jama, who is a international speaker and author, and she's currently having an event very, very soon on the 11th in Pasadena, I believe, with a bunch of other speakers who are very, very motivated to share with you some of their secrets that they have learned over the years, and some of their life's work as well, which is very exciting. So if you guys got a chance, maybe go and have a look at that, and I can add the link below. But yeah, so this is our beta program, and this is me explaining after one of the people I took through, even just the first step. So I recorded this as a post video, and it'll go more in depth of what it's all about, and you can book down here. So this is a Calendly link, and there's going to be more and more times available, but this is my page. And what I really wanted to share was just kind of the progress that is happening. And there's a lot more things that are being designed behind the scenes, but this is just an introduction which I really wanted to share with you guys, because that's where I'm at. And I think a big part of seeing how things progress is a very interesting case study for myself. Basically, I'm recording this as a case study for myself in the future, and potentially anyone who is following the content that I'm kind of creating, or just how things are getting built out. And what's really cool is to me that is seeing some of the stuff that has been in my mind and in my brain and in my experience and in my heart, and seeing it really manifest itself in a physical format, in a way that I'm actually okay and happy with. I've done multiple things in the past, and some of them I'm not very excited about, but this is actually something that I'm really enjoying. Really enjoying seeing it come through, and the pace and the timing in which it's coming through is very in the right space and in the right pace that I feel is comfortable. And in the past, I used to have troubles with trying to project things too quickly, or trying to whip things up too quickly, and not really spending a lot of time in making sure that it's all good. But this time around, I really enjoying the process, and I really wanted to share that with you guys. It's cool to see some of the responses, and there's some people who've already reached out for the beta program, which is really cool. People that have seen the previous posts and some of the previous videos that I've made, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook, and in various different groups that I'm a part of. But it's interesting to see how the types of people that reach out, and I'm really happy to see that this could potentially really help anyone that's out there that is struggling with a challenge. And for a limited time, because I don't really have that much time, personally, to take people through this system on an individual one-on-one basis. That's why it's limited. I mean, I'm really gathering testimonials right now, and not just testimonials, but really gathering a case study of people to plug their life situation into this and come out the other side and see how the framework, the emotional transformation framework, is really going to transition any of the challenges that they have, because everybody's challenge is unique. And remember I said before in this video, actually right here, that I don't know all the answers. I don't know every single person's unique situation, and everybody's situation is very different. And I don't think any one person really knows the answer to every single problem. However, there are some general guidelines and guideposts and some general themes that are very similar, which I have experienced, going through the topical steroid withdrawal, as you guys might know, and with other people's emotional challenges that they have. There are a lot of general similar themes and a lot of steps, very critical steps, mission critical steps, that one might find potentially helpful of thinking through those specific steps and considering and drawing out of themselves the answers to very specific questions and very specific frames, because the framework is really just a set of frames. And what that means is, like, it's a frame of viewing the world, and it's a frame of viewing your current situation, and a frame of viewing your unique experience that you're experiencing that may be causing you some trouble, some emotional challenges, some a little bit of anxiety, or a little bit of feeling down, or if you're feeling stuck, or feeling slightly codependent on something else or some other external circumstance. If you're feeling like a victim sometimes, and feeling like maybe you're at effect and that you don't have as much control over your life that you really want to, potentially. So this system is just a way of getting you to draw out in a very, very specific sequence, which took 5 to 10 years for me to figure out the actual specific sequence, to getting you to think in the right way, and think about your challenge in the right way. And the act of you putting something into this system, so the act of you actually applying it and like going through the steps, is what actually potentially helps you transition the emotional state. It's constructed in a very, very unique way that is very in-depth in terms of how it's going to develop not only the drawing the answers out of yourself, right? So it's not me giving you the answers, right? It's about you drawing your own answers and your own conclusions out of your own experience. And the process of that is going to allow you to see your experience and see your challenge in a very different light, in a very different cadence. And not only is that going to help you shift your perspective on it, which therefore shifts the meaning of how it means to you and the relationship that you have with those experiences. There's negative experience, or it could be a positive experience. Not only is it going to allow you to transition how you perceive it, and in the process of helping you potentially transition how you perceive an experience, is going to help you potentially change how you feel towards it. Because when we change how we think about things and we change how we look at things, things begin to change. And there's a lot of the time we think and we believe to ourselves that this is the only way, that this is it. Our situation is the way that it is, and we are stuck in a perpetual state of being at effect to this situation, and that it has massive control over our lives in all different areas, not just emotionally, because when something controls you emotionally, you know, and you feel shut down, you know, whether you think about an experience or a person or an event that happened in the past and it still bothers you today, you know, you wake up in the morning, you still think about it, or you push it away and you kind of like, you bottled it up somewhere, you know, that stuff's going to leak out, right? You know, if we don't process a lot of these challenges and these things that we go through, they express themselves in different ways. And sometimes it might be a very small expression, but if we continue to ignore it and continue to push it away, we don't process things properly, we tend to we tend to present ourselves and put ourselves in situations subconsciously that help us look at the challenge that we haven't addressed yet in a much more blatant way. So, you know, I don't know if you guys have that experience, but you know, when you're dealing with something, and sometimes things start off as a tiny little candle, but if we just ignore it, we ignore it, we ignore it, we ignore it, one day it turns into a massive blaze, and it can suddenly feel like it's overwhelming, but in actual fact, it slowly grew to that point. We just didn't address it when it was small, when it was a candle, and we could have snuffed it out, right? So sometimes a lot of the challenges, we're already at the point where things are ablaze in our life, and you know, it would be nice to have a process that potentially help us like navigate the complexities of the thinking around that and the emotional challenges of navigating those situations. Especially if you have no one to reach out to, you know, obviously it's good to reach out to people, especially if you need to reach out to a professional or anything like that. You should do that. But sometimes we can't reach out to people, and sometimes we find ourselves alone. Sometimes it's difficult to communicate what it is that we're truly feeling with someone else. And in those moments where we don't have the ability to communicate with other people, it would be nice to be able to have a system and a framework that potentially helps us to navigate the thoughts that we have. Because when I was going through topical steroid withdrawal, like I said, you guys know the story. I didn't go talk to other people. I didn't have anyone I could really talk to, and even if I did talk to them, you know, I could. They didn't have that day by day, second by second experience. You know, they could see what was happening to me. They could empathize with it, but they weren't going through it. So, even if they were going through something similar, they're not with you every single second, every single moment of the day in your own mind. And that's really where the challenge is, because you're going to be living with yourself 365, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life. You can't get rid of yourself, right? There's no way that's going to happen. And you can't avoid what's going on in here. You know, you can talk about it, you can communicate it, but every single moment of every single minute of every single day, you are right here with yourself. And, you know, it would be nice to have a system to help you regulate, self-regulate whenever you can. Because life is sometimes difficult, you know. You know, things aren't always easy. And sometimes there's ups and sometimes there's downs. You know, and during the times when it's down, it's okay, you know. We're not talking about eliminating down periods here, but we can minimize the amount of time that we stay down there, and we can minimize the impact that it has on the rest of our life in other areas that are outside of the realm of what is making us feel down, you know. So that's really what it's all about. It's about empowering you potentially to be able to navigate, to have a system, a guide map to navigate your challenges, whatever they may be, at any given time, so that you can at least have some kind of relief, potentially on an emotional level. You know, Remember, there's the physical that we have to deal with. We live in a physical world. We still have to live in physical society. It's cool to meditate and go to nirvana all day long and sit on a rock and live in a forest if that's what you really want to do. But for majority of people, they don't do that. They have to function in society to some degree, right? So we have to deal with the physical component. We have to deal with the emotional aspect. A lot of the physical challenges that we have an emotional attachment to it. If, I play basketball a lot. Every time you sprain your ankle, there's an emotional attachment to that. And then those experiences start to add up. And if you don't process them properly, you may find yourself not wanting to play basketball that much because you feel like every time you play, you're going to get injured, right? And you have that subconscious emotional fear that's just kind of niggling in the back of your mind, and it's going to affect your performance in that specific sport. It's going to affect the way that you feel, affect the way that you play. It's going to affect the way that you operate and function and implement the skills and the training that you've trained for so long. It's going to affect your ability to actually deliver and fulfill. Same thing in business. Same thing in relationships. And then there is the spiritual aspect, which is a kind of a little bit more, I guess, a little bit more esoteric. But you don't have to deal with that. If you just deal with just the physical and the emotional component, understand that every physical situation has an emotional component attached to it, then that's good enough. Even just going with that baseline, you by now would understand that dealing and resolving that emotional component, usually it's a non-physical, something that is non-tangible but actually has a tangible impact on your life. Usually dealing with that challenge or having a way to transition that state of negativity potentially into a better feeling state, that's really where the, I guess, the value lies in, and the mission critical impact that potentially could unlock your ability to create a much better result, to unlock your full potential, to unlock your ability to perform at the highest level. And if you're already operating at an elite level, it could be the missing piece that could potentially help you unlock the next level, because there is always a next level. And at the highest level of every sport, and at the highest level of every endeavor, whether it's business, whether it's in a relationship, again, whether it's a sport, in whatever it is that you're engaged in, that you have a passion for, that you want to get better at, there's always another level, even if you're at the top of your game. And to get that extra 0.1%, once you've plateaued, you have to have a complete shift of your identity. And it may seem like a huge thing, but really it's not. It's what seems like a huge leap is really just a leap like this in how you think. And sometimes it's very challenging to create that, and the system potentially has tools and a sequence that you can plug your situation into, and it can not only break up the current patterns that you have, or the current neural pathways that you have created, established yourself. Not only can it potentially break that up and shake that up, but it'll help you create a new identity for yourself, the identity for success, the identity for what it is that you truly want to be, the person that you want to be, the next level, that next 0.1% or the next 1%. Breaking through is all about changing how you feel to a place that is sustainable, so that you create an environment that matches how you feel internally on a physical level as well, on a physiological level, not only internally in your mind, mentally, spiritually, but also physiologically on a cellular level. And that's what creates a transformation. When you can make that shift, and I'll leave you with this thought, and it's a very interesting thought. Once you know something, you cannot forget it. Once you are aware of something, you cannot forget it. If you think about your name, you can't forget your name. If someone asks you, what's your name? And I'll be like, my name is James. If someone asks me to forget my name, it's very difficult to do that. You just can't forget it. Once you know something, once information becomes knowledge for you, not only just knowledge conceptually, but once you have ownership over it, an experiential feeling as if you plugged your life experience into the system, now you have ownership over it. Once you know it, it's with you forever, which means you can draw on it at any given time, and you can build your life off a foundation that potentially is going to put you back in the driver's seat again, so that you can live your life in command, in control, and independent, not codependent. Living a life by design and not by default. If you guys are interested, I'm still running beta tests. If you want to be one of the people, one of the limited people, I got limited spots. See right here? Apply below for a limited available complimentary spot in our beta program. Truong's Emotional Transformation Framework. And like I said, I'm doing a complimentary for now because I'm looking for the case studies. And I'm going to launch this potentially as a membership thing where you will have the ability to take ownership over it in the future. But right now it's complimentary because it does take time and it takes a lot of personal investment in terms of me engaging with you, me walking you through it, holding your hand every step of the way, helping you to make sure that you get it. And it's very simple, right? It actually is very simple. To make sure that you can actually apply the exercises and not just dump the whole thing on you so that, you get overwhelmed, you don't do any of it, and then you don't get the result. No, it's going to be a gentle feed of applying the information, sharing it with you, teaching you the structure so that you can have ownership over it. And yeah, that's where that's at. So reach out to me, DM me, maybe leave a comment in the section below. And I look forward to serving you to whatever capacity it is. Anyway, bye for now.